Get ready to rock radio, music you want to hear.
Coming from London, the brand new revised Peter Ross Show.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the show. Today we're talking to Status Quo, Francis Rossi and Rick Parfitt, all about their brand new album and film, Bula Quo. Francis is first. Welcome along, Francis Rossi of Status Quo. Welcome, Francis. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm good, actually. The sun is shining. There's people coming to the studio to do some stuff, and I'm quite chipper. I've had my second cup of coffee, which is why I'm speaking so fast. Other than that, it's all quite good. We've got two new dogs who are causing me a lot of pain, but there we are.
What are they called?
Maggie and Nancy. They're two little crosses between Westie and Jack Russell. And I've got another Westie, and I've got a golden retriever that's dying with a huge tumour on her derriere, which is lovely pictures, isn't it, create?
I had the same thing.
What, the derriere? You had a tumour on your
derriere? Yeah. It's just, I'm standing up at the moment. That's why I've had that done. But whose idea was it to go to Fiji and make a film like this? Because it's a ridiculous idea, filming in the sun.
It was all ridiculous. All the things that come to us over the years. Yeah. When first we were talking to Bruce, the guy from Coronation Street, used to come and see us at Manchester, and I happened to say to him, we were doing a photograph, I said, why can't you get us in your job and we come down, stand there, have a drink or something, you know. It's just banter. And he said, well, I can do that. I'm sure they love it. And then a couple of years later, along comes the script. I'm thinking, oh, no, I can't do this. We did it. As we got there, they said to us, you're going to have this stunt coordinator, this person, to show you how to fight. I thought, but fighting on television is different than anywhere else. And then as we started with this guy, he said to Rick and I, he said, I'd love to make a film with you too. And over the years, those kind of things are said. And you're kind of, oh, yeah, great. And inside you're thinking, idiot. Fiji, and I enjoyed it immensely. We play ourselves, and I don't think it's quite as true to us as we could have been, because we're going for the child areas between 5 and 10 years old. It really appeals to them. So I think we could have roughed it up a little bit, but maybe that'll be for if there's any more movies. Yeah, but it was great in Fiji. Loved it.
Bula Quo.
It's such a weird thing. You know when the Spanish everywhere and they go hola. Yeah. I could have sworn everybody in Fiji was going hola. I thought, oh, they're Spanish.
Did you take any acting lessons to play yourself or not?
No, that was the whole thing. I suddenly got really nervous. As I said to you, things come to us over the years. And you say, yeah, all right, we'll have a go. When people are very confident in you, I'm terrible at being pushed outside my comfort zone. But once I've done it, it's I really enjoyed doing it. But the fact they said you can play yourself, so Rick and I would go over our conversations and try and talk as best we could, like we do. However, as I said to you, I think there are some mild swear words in there would be more natural to us if we couldn't use the major ones and so on. But no, there was no coaching other than, it's like if I say to you now, look, I'd like you to walk over there, turn around, look at me, smile, and say so-and-so. You go, all right, and I get used to do it, and I say, well, look, try again, but can you do-da-da-da? You do it, and I go, fabulous, move on, let's do the next. Oh, that's good. So it's like this young boy in me goes, oh, I did it good, Daddy, thank you. So it's like making an album. You keep your head down and then suddenly turn around. I wonder what it's actually like. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, looking at the film, Craig Fairbrass Bass, who
He's great, isn't he?
who plays your manager.
Yeah.
Do you know, I wonder if that's their real manager. I thought he played it very well.
A lot of people said that, but it's the cliched version of the manager. Like that, well, we got the cliched version of the roadies. They call them roadies, but they're not. They're technicians these days. So I think he played it well for how people envisage these rock and roll managers. But he's nothing like our manager. Our manager's much more polite, much more mild-mannered than that.
Did you get
much bigger belly?
Yeah, they always are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you get any help from John Lovett's, as far as skill acting and things like that?
The best thing about John was his schedule was such that he came in at a certain point, so we had to do all of his scenes when he was there. But he's got that face that you're either going to laugh at as soon as you see it, or if he keeps it dead straight, he's got that whoop. He could be quite threatening. But we were doing one scene in the night shoot about the where we look at the little doll that's the blow-up doll.
Oh yeah,
that's about the funniest thing I've got. It's a blow-up doll. No, it's a bomb. And I learned there too that in any scene we look at on TV, there are probably 12 to 17 people around you that you can't see in the shot, right?
Yeah.
And we kept doing this shot, because we're not very good at this, at learning the entire script. I now realise you should learn the entire script. So it becomes more conversational than waiting to hear your cue and jumping in on it. You see, so we're doing this scene, all of a sudden we heard,
right,
and it's exactly what happened just then. That sudden silence, like everybody's. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
So people thought, was that my cue? Was that my cue? And of course, everyone started giggling, and that took us probably an hour and a half because of doing like a 45-second clip piece. So he was good like that, and it was learning stuff from his face that he can say. We were doing the scene with the guns down in the Russian roulette thing. And I kept looking at his face, and I'd go to laugh. You do that so well, and then he'd just look at you. Like, oh, he's serious. So I think he's one of those comedians that can do that. If he really went into more serious stuff other than this kind of what we just did, he could be quite threatening. And I find that with quite a few comedians that when they put their real deadpan, oops. Yeah. They look really quite threatening. So he was a pleasure to be with.
Let me take you back to when you signed with Pi Records all those years ago. Take your memory right back there to the 60s. You had 5 years with Pi. You had some good hits with them. I mean, you started off... of course, Rick wasn't with you initially when you started.
No.
And how did you bump into him?
We met at Butlins that's when I met my first wife too. On 29th of May 1965 was the day we arrived there, because that's my birthday. Right. I met my first wife there, her sister, and a few hours later I met Rick, and we got to know Rick quite well. And it wasn't until we'd got back to England we then got the record deal, and it was by 67. There was things about my voice because I can't really sing, and our manager, I think this is probably Alan Lancaster and our manager at the time, had discussed it, and he said, well, let's ask Rick. He's very good looking. He's got that thing that you look at Rick. And they just said, well, would you mind if he joined? I mean, I don't know why I didn't take the hump at the time, but I didn't, because I quite liked him, and we became very friendly, all of us, and it was just part of the way the history developed. But he came in because of his voice, which is kind of weird, because then mine took off, but that... And he doesn't sing like that. Yes. He has this cabaret voice, which, again, he hates me saying, but I like that in his voice. It's the true voice, whereas now he tries to do the which I just don't see it as Rick at all.
So what was the key change then, obviously, when Rick came aboard, and then you went over to Vertigo? What was that?
Well, first off, remember, we recorded Matchstick Men. I'm not quite sure if Rick's on it or not. He was in the room and stuff, but... Then Matchstick Men came out, became a hit. He sang on it.
All right.
It became a hit. And then there was Ice in the Sun that started to get a real... we were kind of losing it there. You could see, because we were being shown what to wear, what to say, how to stand. It was all like that. And all the people around us, as the popularity waned, all the people that were around us in the business sort of drifted somewhat. And understandably, that's not a complaint. And we started to do more of the stuff that we did when we first met Rick in the middle 60s. And we were trying to get work, basically. And we were in a club somewhere in Germany, and I heard someone doing Roadhouse Blues. And we saw this couple dancing, these Germans dancing. When two people dance together, they'd obviously... And that kind of got us going into the shuffle thing and the semi-blues thing that we do. And it just kind of developed from there, and we all grew hair and became much more scruffy, I suppose, because it was anything to rebel against the initial showbiz thing we'd been taught. However, that is still with us, like that kind of consummate professional, you know. We will do whatever it takes, really, to keep the band alive. And sometimes I think guys in bands get a little, my music, you know, and I won't prostitute myself. Yes, you will. But we do. That's what show business is about. And some people want to say it's not show business. Well, stay at home then.
Yeah, well,
and we don't.
You went from the psychedelic traffic name and all of that over to. I think really I suppose you were reborn as Quo, and I suppose you fell into being just you, didn't you, in 1968?
Much more like it, I think, as well. And as I said, we were so directed by people what to play on stage, what to do on stage, and I'd written Matchstick Men, which was kind of following other people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I did, I think it was In My Chair, it was like a slow bluesy shuffle that started to our identity, and we began to really enjoy shuffles. I can't help, you know, I'd love to say that I was influenced by various black musicians from way back, but I never was. It was the white guys over here who were influenced by the black that I got my influence of blues from, so it's not kosher, so to speak.
Marty Wilde being one of them.
Yeah. Marty, I can see him in his underpants. I don't know, we went to see him somewhere. He was next door, we were playing, and there he is in his shirt, socks and underpants. It's just a strange vision. But yes, Marty did the plectrum across the top of the piano for the zing, like in the sun.
Was Justin Hayward playing with him then?
I don't think so.
No.
Not what do you mean, in the dressing room?
No, I mean,
no.
You know, on the stage, yeah.
You walked into that one, didn't you?
You are a naughty boy.
You walked into that one. No, he wasn't, not that I know of.
No.
We had Kim out on tour with us the other year, and of course Marty turned up occasionally, and we were always, you know, to us it was Marty Wilde, particularly when I was 18 or 19. And he was so... And again, that's why I think where Rick and I have learnt some of our professionalism is that you meet someone like that, and he was such a nice man. Whether he is genuine or not, I don't know, but to us he really was, and each time we meet him he was. Subsequently, people like the Tremolos that we met, who were kind of seen as uncool, and they were the nicest people we would meet, wherever we bumped into them.
Yeah.
You know, because generally you're used to, we were being a young band, and people had that... that we all do to each other, whereas those people always made us feel... that we were okay and we fit in.
Going back to being on tour, and you were talking about Mexico, did you find the heat was a bother for you?
In Mexico, the heat?
Yeah.
The pollution, and the last time we went there, we weren't there as long this time, which was quite good. Although, with that 24 or 30-odd million or whatever it is in Mexico City, the pollution is just ridiculous. And, of course, you're 7,000 feet above thingy level.
Yeah.
So, and you can hear that on the recorded stuff. You don't hear it on the night or feel it necessarily on the night, other than you can't get a deep enough breath. But the heat in itself wasn't that bad this time. It was just the pollution, and it slows you right down.
You don't go out and take oxygen, do you?
We had oxygen on stage with us. We always carry oxygen since this middle 70s, when if the venues get too hot, you can't concentrate. Not enough oxygen gets to the brain.
Yeah.
People think it's because you're going to, you physically can't do it. It's not that. It's getting the oxygen to the brain.
Yeah.
And once you do that, it's like, it's a kick in. And the same happened over there when... Even Matthew Letley, he's very unlike him, went for oxygen, because your lungs can't get the air in. But I love Mexican food. I love the breakfast. I had such fabulous breakfasts. I could write home about it. It's fantastic.
Let me take you back to Cornwall, 1970, when you were sitting somewhere writing Caroline.
Oh, yeah.
On a napkin. How did that come about?
Me and Bob were in a writing phase, and we went on a holiday with our respective wives. I remember Bob's wife was pregnant. I think mine was pregnant with my second. It's very funny, Bob. We would sit on this beach in the day, and she'd be sat in the wheelchair, in the deck chair,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she'd say, "Bob, could you move that sun?" So he'd get her chair and he'd move her around a little bit like that, and we'd carry on sitting there talking and trying to write a lyric, and Bob, and he'd move her again. And about the third or fourth time in this particular day, he just stood up around the beach. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Sue Young, pioneer in childbirth. Thank you." And so the entire beach applauded, and she got over that. But we were doing the lyric. We got the idea of the song, and it was in a shuffle. If you want to turn me on to or anything you really, instead of da. And we got to this lyric, and it said, take my hand, together we can rock and roll. I said, "Bob, we can't say that." I said, "It's such a hackneyed line. You can't say that anymore." And it was 71, 70. And subsequently, if you think how many records and references like people go, "I love rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll." Talk about saying the same thing over and over. And it just kind of worked. The track just kind of worked. Lots of girls have said to me, well, you're singing that about me. So, well, how could I? Didn't know you. We've just done there's another song for the movie, because the girl in the movie, Laura Aikman, is playing a girl called Caroline in it.
Yeah.
And when we turn up at we're looking for a girl called Caroline, so we have a song called Looking for a Girl Called Caroline. Seems weird to go 40-odd years and write another song with Caroline in it, but there you go.
Well, the Bula album...
It's funny that, isn't it, Bula?
I know. Was it an easy title to find?
We've
done the documentary, which is Hello Quo, and when we got to doing Fiji, there was another mooted title, I can't remember what, and it's like in Spain where everybody goes, hola, everywhere you go, every time you pass someone, they go, Bula, and I kept thinking they were going, hola, and they were going, Bula, and then one day I'd already had the song Bula Quo, an idea for it, because I'd done it for something else previously, and some guy went, Bula, Bula, I thought, that's it, there it is. And obviously the managers and everybody else thought Bula Quo it looks good. It's a bit Fijian and it's a bit Quo and it's saying hello Quo again. And then when I got the Bula Quo, we were away. Then it started to work.
Does it make a difference when you have a song and it goes to number one? I mean, you just recently had a top 10 album. Does it make a difference when you have a song or an album that goes to number one, or do you?
It used to make a lot of difference financially, particularly. Now we were saying this yesterday because we're on a promo thing at the moment, that there are no pieces to be sold. You don't get anywhere near the airplay you used to because radio's diversified so much. Yeah. But it still freaks us out. Yes, it got in the chart. Oh, yes, it's in the... but in terms of it's a fraction of what it used to be, but still a joy when it happens. So that's what I said to you about the Insecure little show, or the fact that it reaffirms that, yes, you're successful.
Were you upset when Radio 1 refused to play your songs?
At first, in a way, but the main issue, which we'd done a show for them, they called up in this time of year and we weren't particularly working, and the manager said, the BBC would like you to do... I said, no thanks. I said, we're not really. He said, well, never mind. And they came back a few years, well, they're very, very keen. Yeah, not really interested. And then they said, well, they've done a vote with their audiences, and you're the band they'd most like to see, and Delamitri. I always call them Delamitri. And... we did the show to 125,000 people, including with Delamitri, and subsequently Delamitri have gone. Okay. I shut them down, and then the thing with us. So before we went to that show, we said, "Well, there's this issue. You decide you're going to play our records when it suits you." And they said, "Well, no problem then." But and subsequently said to us, "Well, we'll play your songs when they get in the chart." We thought, "Well,
you need to play them before.
How are they going to get in the chart?" Yeah. So anyway, we did the thing, and then as soon as we'd done that show, the airplay stopped again. So I said to our manager, that's a bit off, you know. He said, well, that's their policy now. I said, fine, okay, can you get the money, please? He said, what do you mean? I said, we drew 125,000 people and played for nothing. Yeah. Or want the money for the show, no problem. But give us them, don't lead us in, say, do us a free show because we love you to death, and then change your mind. I understand what they had their own issues. And they looked at that. He said, "It's not going to work. We need something that's going to." So he said, "We're going to sue Radio 1 for not playing your records." So don't be silly. But it was a great angle. And would we have done it again? No. But that's the way it was going to be anyway.
Were you nervous when you got your OBE?
No, I thought, I don't think people like us should get stuff like that. However, once I realised that if a paramedic from Leeds who's done wonderful things, he's not going to get Sky News come round or CNN come round, which is what happened as soon as we got it. So we maintain or keep the profile of the honours system, which I think, okay, is great. Whether I'm a royalist or not, when we went to meet the Queen, I've met her a few times. She's a fantastic woman. You can't away when you believe in royal in that blue blood stuff, which I don't. However, what she does for our country in the promo, it's similar to what we're doing now. She is brilliant. No two ways about it. She is brilliant.
I was asking Paul Gambaccini the other day who was the most famous person that he just spoke to. and he'd just done a question and answer thing for you in Leicester Square, I think it was.
Oh, did he tell you about that? No,
Yeah, he did.
Like
But the funny thing was, you won't believe this, Francis. The funny thing was that he then turned round and he said about you and Rick, and then he said, and Nelson Mandela.
Wow, good company,
Well,
huh?
I thought so. I mean, that was a hell of a compliment, wasn't it?
It really is, yeah.
If you could only play one guitar, just one guitar out of all the guitars that you have, which one would it be?
People aren't going to like this, but very recently I had a status made. They made me a guitar, the carbon fibre, the people who make John Edwards basses. And he had one. I said, ask him to make me one, and I have it in grey. And it's the best guitar I've ever had. I really love it, and I would play that because it's so consistent, and I can have it replaced, and it's exactly the same with conventional guitars. And you know, you get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I like the wood and the rose and this and that," and I think a lot of that is jerking off. You can. It's like when they make a signature series. You think you're going to buy a signature, Eric Clapton signature. You'll sound like Eric Clapton. No, you won't. You sound like yourself. You will always be. It's the person. I don't understand why or how, but if I pick up any guitar, it's going to sound like I do. So this idea that the magic green Telecaster. And I've done so many Moody's with that over the year where I've played different guitars, and I've very rarely used that on record. And people say, oh, I love the sound of that old green telly, don't you? I go, oh, yeah, never be without it. So it's one of those showbiz things. It's just over there in front of me, this Status guitar. It's one-piece carbon fibre. It's fantastic.
What is the album that you've made that's been successful that you're most proud of?
What was the one before last? Not Bula Quo. Bula Quo. No, what were we?
Pro Quo?
Pro. There's one before that.
Hello? No, 1973, Hello.
Yeah, it was a jump, wasn't it?
Ooh.
Anyway, the one before that, I don't think there's any one out. In Search of the Fourth Chord. And whilst I thought the title was extremely funny, there were some lovely tracks on there. I think some of my best writing personally was on there. I did like Quid Pro Quo, but I figured it was a bit one-faceted, and it starts to like we were trying to make an AC/DC album, and a lot of people seem to think that's what Quo were all about, just that one thing. And if you mention the Hello album, you can, in that there's light and shade in that. But the last one was, as you said, extremely well received, and better than any album for a long time.
And your favourite track from Bula Quo, then?
Probably Bula Quo, because it's different, and but I really do like Matthew's song on there, Running Inside My Head.
Action film, you are the star of the action film, of course, with Rick as well. Bula Quo, when is it released?
I think it's July 1st we're going to the premiere, so if everybody comes along and sees it and tell us what they think, really, I'm ready to take the criticism for it, but we need people to see it, because like an album, I don't know until people say that feedback comes, so please come along and see it.
Well, Francis, I must admit I watched it and I enjoyed it, and thank you very much. You've been most gracious today.
Thank you, sir.
Get ready to rock radio.